I'm Terry Frangiosa, and I'm the board secretary for Cohen Veterans Bioscience. As the wife of a retired Navy officer, a long-standing advocate for people with mental health disorders, and as a former pharmaceutical executive, I'm thrilled to be on the front lines of the Cohen Veterans Care effort. First of all, wasn't that an amazing day and evening yesterday? Let's give all the speakers and the Cohen team a hand. Great job, everybody. Over the years, as the wife of a JAG officer, I've learned about many instances where soldiers have not received the care that they deserve and need. This despite the existence of tireless advocates within the system working to ensure they gain access. I've also been in a unique position within pharma to see that it's really difficult to develop new drugs and diagnostics when the science isn't far enough along. And we heard a little bit about that yesterday with devices. In that scenario, it's much more difficult to demonstrate that research costs will be recovered and that the risk of clinical development can be mitigated. We need to transform our system to enable more information sharing, the kind of sharing that will allow us all to collectively move forward. It's clear that we have to work together to change the current environment, and I think yesterday was a great start in doing that. And I'm more confident than ever that we can do this, but only with our forces united. So here's what we learned yesterday. For me, my favorite part of the meeting actually yesterday was hearing from Garrett Combs, who gave a very brave and touching account of his story and really helped us to understand the human side of PTSD. And he talked about people losing their souls and feeling like they lost their souls and couldn't gain them back or gain part of their self back. And that really touched me in a very unique way. Then Mr. Stephen Cohen gave us insight into his commitment and the driving force behind his commitment and this effort. That was followed by Dr. Magali Haas, who challenged us to face the truth of the seriousness of this effort and to dare to create new solutions through partnerships and connections as we're establishing here today and yesterday. What we heard from our esteemed speakers, Under Secretary Shulkin, Dr. Califf at the FDA, and Dr. Woodson, was that this is a priority issue for their organizations and that we can radically change the world and how we're doing things by working together to affect a very complex environment as it was presented yesterday. Then we heard from Anthony Hassan, who spoke to a new model with Cohen Veterans Network that will revolutionize the standard of care for veterans and their families. And I was particularly impressed by the commitment of Anthony and the sense of urgency around providing integrated, high-quality mental health care for them, for veterans and their families. Then we heard from Dr. Marmer, who spoke about the need for a new PTSD taxonomy and the ability for us now to drive development of future diagnostics as we develop this new taxonomy. And I thought it was very interesting to hear the history of how the military viewed PTSD and that we're really having encouraging potential for a move from subjective diagnosis to more objective diagnosis as we move forward. So the next slide. Do I have to do that here? There. So then we had Dr. Haas leading a panel regarding the collective effort to expand the National Research Action Plan. And it was great to see how all of our national organizations are working together to create data sharing there was an interesting point that data sharing does not equal accelerated learning, and the importance of coordination amongst everybody and communication amongst everybody to actually accelerate learning from the data. And then Dr. Crystal brought home the importance of thinking about therapeutic targets and spoke to the conundrum of having many patients with very few drugs, 2 older drugs, and needing to move beyond a host of off-label approaches that are not well tested. And that set part of our mission forward. Then our keynote, Dr. Kandel, provided perspective on cutting-edge approaches in PTSD. And that was great because it was kind of explaining how we were starting to reap benefits of learning from past decades, and across therapeutic areas we were gaining insights. And then we learned about from the panel led by Andreas Jeroman. We really heard a lot about the challenges in developing diagnostics, and I love that BrainScope really laid out all of the pathway for getting to a device approval. And we had a great, robust dialogue with the FDA, Carlos Pina, and the team, Michael Singer, around the tension between trying to get an approval and trying to move forward and develop in a cost-effective manner.